one should be looked at. And then we also have children who require special devices to be able to get quality or to be able to access education. That should be in place when we talk about quality education for that category of children. And then also when you look at the teachers, we have teachers who have been trained to take care of these children. But that is where the problem is. Because when we're talking about inclusive education, it means that these children are supposed to learn in the same environment with the other children. So then what that requires is that every teacher is supposed to have skills to handle all groups of children. So when we have a situation where we only have a category of or a group of teachers who can handle the children living with disabilities, then that is another gap that needs to be looked at. So when we talk about special needs education, we are calling for the government to ensure that the environment is friendly. Then we are also calling upon them to ensure that the teachers have the skills that they need to be able to handle all groups of children. But at the same time, we are also saying that other facilities, other devices that are required, specialized devices or support that are required for these for children living with disabilities to be able to access quality education should be in place. Why we are saying that is because some of these children require devices that are very expensive. And when we leave it to parents, then that is why we are finding ourselves in a situation where children with special needs are lagging behind. Most of them are at home because their parents cannot afford it. So if our government is able to provide for that, then we are going to ensure that all children are able to access quality education.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So I am looking at the people online. I need you guys to help me. Do you have friends, okay, or brothers, sisters, or do you know someone, or a child who has a disability? And what are the challenges that do these children go through as they try to get an education? Or like you, okay? They all, KCP, the result just came out. KCSE, the results are coming out. So as an outsider, I should start with Mavis, because what are some of the challenges that face, because I know when you are in school and we have quite a couple of children with disability in that school. So what are some of the challenges that face children, some of the things that children with disabilities?
Okay, children with disabilities, okay, they face many challenges, most especially when they are taken into a school that they are not understanding each other with the fellow students. So you may find that the other students who are well, they are not understanding them, so they cannot actually relate very well with them, and also with the teachers. So you can find that these children with disabilities, they isolate themselves because there is no one to understand them, there is no one to help them, so they just isolate themselves, and then you may find that they cannot be helped. So they, even in academics, they perform poorly because there is no one to understand them and to help them. So at least in schools, there should be teachers to understand them and to help them, and also create awareness to their fellow students, also to relate well with them, so that they can be helped, at least so that they can perform well in their academics.
Thank you so much, Mavis. I just want are there hands up? Emmanuel, yes. So what are some of the challenges?
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that face children with disability, and what do you think should be done to help these children?
Children with disabilities can be helped by showing them good love and playing with them so that they cannot see you are hating them.
Showing them love, as a child, you're supposed to show them love and play with them so that they can
Yes.
They are loved. Thank you so much. Someone else? Brian King, yes?
Can you hear us?
Oh, yes, Madara team, yes?
Okay, here is Mary.
Yes, Mary?
I think the advantages that these children with disabilities are like bullers. You find that one child has no problem and the other has a problem. So the one who has no problem is going to bully this other. And you find that there are no translators to where they can translate what the others can say or can volunteer to teach them some education or knowledge that can help them. That is all.
Okay.
Yes. Someone else?
I'll give someone else.
Okay.
Okay.
May I talk in Kiswahili?
Yes, yes.
Endelea kabisa jibambe.
Hii gava inafaa ijenge shule ya disabilities kando na watu normal kando. Yo, ukika disabilities na normal people inakuwa ni ngumu sana. Unapata mwenye ana disabilities anafanyia vitu zenye haifai. So inafaa wajengewe klasi yao kando au wengine klasi yao kando. Kila kitu zikuwe kando kando. But sasa hii time ya group wa kids inafaa kuja pamoja. Sasa wafundishe hao si pia venye wanafaa kuishi na watu.
Okay, iko mtu mwingine before Benda tuongelesha, iko mtu mwingine iko na anataka kutusemea kitu.
Yes, speaking.
Yeah, go ahead, Samuel.
I am Duar. Hezron. Yes, so the challenges that mostly those children with disabilities they wanna face, okay, wale wenye mimi najua. Okay, you'll find that most of these children wanna lack shule. So they lack the schools where they are supposed to be treated well. So like for the ones I know. And then the lack of translators, those then lack of the structures. And then infrastructure pia, our areas ni poor. So you find that mostly mtu mwenye akona wheelchair hawezi pita. And then as far as I'm concerned pia, as far as they are concerned, shule zenye ziko karibu za watu wenye wako na disabilities mostly Mathare mbali. Na unajua those children with disabilities were almost everywhere, wameskata all over Mathare. Yes, and then the other thing, lack of support from the government to their parents. So you find that a child with disabilities anakuanga na needs more kuliko mwanafunzi wa kawaida. So the government should support their parents. So that is a very big challenge they face. I think I don't have much.
Thank you so much for
Okay. Okay, there is something we can add from Mathare. Ikiachwa nje itakuwa tumeviolate the right of this disabled in our area because we are representing them for today. So, one, I hope what madisabled wamefichwa kwa nyumba juu one, the schools zenye ziko area haziwapatii love, haziwaruhusu kukuja. Ukienda kwa mashule wanawaambia we don't do disabled because they are unique or ni ngumu kudeal nao. Hata saa hii tunajua some disabled yenye wana shule because walipelekwa to disabled schools na wameambiwa chances zimejaa, watu wamejaa hizo mashule. So kuna hii kitu government inafaa iangalie. So long as there are prioritization in education and they have financed the education system for over 10% every years along, wanafaa waangalie the education ya disabled because wameachwa nyuma. Unapata structures ziko shule zimejengwa za gava but access za hawa madisabled kuingia class ni ngumu, hazijajengwa ile inaweka wanaweza enda kwa class easily. Now, another thing is just one. I I prefer that through your link and other stakeholders, the CSOs, the NGOs, and other non-governmental organizations, we should do a lot of sensitization so that we tell the parents to pull their disabled kids out and take them to school so that they can also get the knowledge as other kids in the country. Because in this country, the state is the one who should give quality and quality education to all kids with no discrimination of disability or any other things. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Before mwende wasiwa Mathare, before mwende, nataka mniambie,
Yes.
naanza na Samuel, Mary, Valerie na Oduor. Nataka kila mtu aniambie, what is your dream? When you grow up, what is your dream? What do you want to achieve when you grow up? Nataka naanza na Mary.
My dream is to become a doctor because you find very many people dying of a disease for the venye watu wamejaa kwa hospitali. There is a line that wengine wanakufa hata bila kuingia kwa hospitali. So my dream is to become a doctor. Thank you.
To become a doctor. Okay, I have
Valerie.
My dream is to become a fashion designer.
Wow, you can come and fashion for me my head here, especially.
Yeah, can I give Samuel?
Yes, Samuel, yes.
Yes, my dream is to become the world's best engineer.
The world best.
Because here in Kenya, our technology is back. They are at the back. And I can't see the vision 2030. Yeah, so I just want to develop the infrastructure, the machines. Yes.
Okay.
You are at the very back.
Okay. And
Okay, yes.
yeah, Oduor.
Edwin. Yes, speaking is Oduor.
Yeah.
So my dream is to become an architect. Yes, mostly, I view Mathare as I take Mathare as an example. So we still have iron sheet buildings in Mathare. So that one is my purpose. So my purpose is to change Mathare as an architecture. God willing. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hello? Are you still from Mathare?
Hello. Hello. Yes, my names are Michael. Yeah, I want to be a journalist in the future. And I'm also practicing it because I am a video director. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even Omar is my schoolmate.
Hello. Hello. As for me, even me too, I would like to become a journalist. And I wish that I could practice it from Total News so that when I grow big, I will be good.
As for me, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. When I grow up,
My name is Phyllis. My name is Phyllis. Sister to Phyllis.
Me.
Be an architecture so they can change Mathare. So for us to achieve those dreams, we need quality education, right?
Yeah.
What do you think should be done, okay, by government, okay, for us to achieve this quality education?
Well, I think first of all, I'll speak in the aspect of the people who are in now the ghetto areas, the places where there are few schools and few teachers. I think what the government can do, you see, sometimes you find a school has 120 teachers plus, and in some schools there are really less teachers. I think, first of all, the government can provide enough teachers to all the schools. And as Edna had said, instead of shifting teachers all the time, I think the students can feel comfortable when they are taught with one teacher who they, first of all, got to meet, and then they got to understand them, and then they got to actually connect. I think what can be done is that, you know, instead of shifting teachers from school to school, they can just let teachers settle first. And then the other thing is that education should be made even absolutely free, because sometimes you find that parents cannot take their students to school, or even the students themselves, they get psychological torture because he or she is in school, and then maybe he or she is thinking about maybe even though I'm in school right now, I know next term I will not be in school because I'll be chased away because of school fees, like what happens in high school. So yeah, I've seen many of them being like that, because now he or she is studying, and then maybe saying, what am I even studying, because next time I'm not going to be here, there's no school fees, I'm going to be chased home. So I think what the government can do is at least provide maybe the school fees itself, let it be free. Yeah, like that. And also in school itself, facilities like laboratories in high school. Sometimes you can find a school having only one laboratory, and maybe there's chemistry, there's biology, and in biology maybe there's basic 1, basic 2. I think we need like a lot of laboratories, and also the apparatus themselves. Sometimes you can find like maybe we do an experiment, and then while we are doing the experiment, we don't do it because there are no apparatus. We don't have the apparatus that are needed to do the certain experiment. So what we just do, we just look at the book, read, this is how it's done, and then we go to the exam room. And that doesn't work, because if you see it practically, that's when you can know, wow, oh, this is how it's done. Even when someone didn't read, he can remember that experiment, what we did, and then he can come and apply it. Same to the desks in schools. I think the desks should also be given, because I've seen the desks have been given, yes, but in some schools the desks are for maybe class 8s only. or maybe they've been kept in stores. I think the government can follow up and see where the desks are going. Yeah, I think that's how we can achieve.
Thank you so much, Omar. So I want to see, how can we achieve all of us? How many are we now? We are almost 100, are we? You know, so how can we achieve this quality education? How can we ensure? How can we achieve? What are your suggestions? Joseph,
Hello.
yes.
Yes, I'm Joseph, and I will answer what I think is a solution to attaining quality education in our country. I think the government should inculcate we the students, we the learners, while formulating policies or plans that affect the education sector. Because some issues like having inadequate teachers, I don't think that this country has inadequate teachers, because if you're friends, you've seen people who are applying for jobs at the TSC, they are waiting. Some have papers on education, but they don't have jobs. I think the government should employ those people, and then while they're making decisions, they should also incorporate we the students. For example, the new syllabus that is coming in, maybe it was decided for by a group of professors, but there was no students who are asked, what do you think should be in this new curriculum? So I think when making these things, while making these plans, students should be part of that, because I think we are the learners, because what they plan will affect us. So we need to be aware of what is affecting us. So when the government is planning all of this, I think we should be included in that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are very good points. Anybody else? Ruth,
Hello.
yes?
Hello.
Ruth? Yes, go on, Ruth.
For me, I think the best way we can actually achieve quality education in our country is by number one, by the government providing the required resources in schools. That includes sanitation, that includes also clean water in schools, because most of the times these are the things that hamper students from achieving concentration, maybe having quality food, having good food in school, adequate food in school. I think that is one thing that we can do, or the government can do, in order to achieve quality education. Another thing is to give students opportunities to various things. You find some schools do not get opportunities to participate in co-curricular activities, which actually hampers students from being exposed to what is in the world. Most of the times you find that students, they learn in school, they don't know what is really out here, and the education cannot really be applied out here. So basically, the government should ensure that there are a lot of opportunities like Science Congress. This can actually make most students use their creativity and actually bring up our country. For example, yesterday, the president actually launched something to do with land and how technology can be used. That is something that can be, the government gives students opportunities to. The example that you can give is one person wants to become a lawyer, for example. If you're not exposed to maybe such things like debates or having contests with others in that, then you won't be really adequately equipped compared to that person who has been having all this through like having speeches in school and all that kind of stuff. So basically the government should provide more opportunities for students so that they can be exposed to a lot of things. Another thing is also providing counseling in school. I mean, most of the students, they're engaging, people are dropping out of school. There are a lot of things that are actually going on in students, you know, minds. Like, for example, when we had our break, I'm sure there are some schools that never even cared of maybe looking at what really happened to this student when he or she was away from school. What is really happening to this student? There are people who are actually engaging in there is sexual immorality, others are being drug addicts because they don't really know how to handle issues in their lives. For example, maybe for a girl, she doesn't know how to. These things that are actually hampering students from actually achieving their dreams of those who want to be doctors, those who want to be lawyers, simply because of something that can be done by the government easily. So having counselors in school is one thing that is going to improve our quality education. And the last thing will be having good administration. You find some schools when they have certain administration, that is the heads of the school. There's some heads of the school that are not really taking their responsibility as head teachers, as principals, and that is what is actually drifting that is in town. That is why you find sometimes there's a school that is going to do well with a certain head teacher, a certain principal, and there's another time they're really drifted back when there is no such person. So I believe and I think the government is able to provide people in the ministry who can actually be taking surveys and actually seeing the progress of certain head teachers and actually to some extent instilling some kind of discipline to some of them who actually or should be accountable to the reason as to why some students or the school is not doing as well as it was supposed to be or it used to be. Yeah, so I think with all of that, with the government and everything that can be done by each and every person, including the parents, including the government, including us as Wananchis, all of us, I think it's going to really take us far in terms of achieving quality education. Thank you.
Those are very key points. Elizabeth, you know, I'm thinking.
I totally agree.
Yeah, she just gave us a whole document to write.
Exactly.
So, and I'm thinking, you know, she said something very profound. She said something about the head teachers. One school performs better.
Yeah.
In one, there's a head teacher, and then it performs poorly. The head teacher.
True.
You know, it's something from outside. When we are adults, we do not consider it as a quality issue. Okay, and that's a challenge to the Ministry of Education. Why does one school perform better when there's this head teacher, but it's performing poorly when there's another head teacher? That's, for me, I don't know, what's your take on those?
Yeah, it's actually a management issue. And you know, people have different skills. So the way I'm going to manage school is different from the way you will manage that same school with the facilities there. So it is true what she says. You will find that in a particular school, when this head teacher is there, the school is top. And everybody wants to go there. But once there is a transfer, then everything goes bad. And you're like, what happened? You still have the same children, you have the same facilities and the same funding that the school is getting. So it's all about management.
It's all about management.
It's all about management.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Is there another hand up? Emmanuel, yes? Emmanuel? You need to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, Michael.
Yeah, I want to echo. Yes, I want to echo on something. The government of Kenya, we lack or scarcity of ICT skilled teachers. The Jubilee government promised us laptops and iPads. We have never saw them in the rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the reminder. I'm sure someone is listening to this on YouTube and they are going to take the appropriate steps. So anybody else?
Yes, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hezron.
Yes, Hezron.
Yes, so I want to add something upon. So, you know, we've been crying out loud to the government, but there is also this thing that we need to follow up as students. So this one goes to my fellow students. Yes, there is something we call self-discipline. So my uncle taught me something very important that I think my fellow students are supposed to know. Yes, he told me about self-discipline. So he told me that there is something we call self-responsibility and self-confidence, and we also have this thing we call self-respect and self-control. So in some cases, we know we blame the government for very many issues, and we know that the government cannot handle all those issues as per our expectations. We've been crying for years, and we know they are there. but we complain more but expect less. So what I'm supposed to urge my fellow students is that wherever you are seated, in that environment that you are learning in, so make sure that you cope with that environment. So they said, he told me that the environment is not the one to control the man. The man is the one to control the environment. So we don't need to now backpedal because maybe the government has not provided certain facilities or certain needs that we are supposed to have. So what we have, appreciate what you have, then you have the skills. Be self-disciplined, have that self-respect, and then have that self-control. So I think I don't have much. So I only wanted to urge my fellow students on that. So they need to struggle with their lives. I'm from Mathare. So I've struggled with the life in primary, and right now I'm somewhere else in Kericho. So I still have to adapt the life in Kericho there. I just found that some problems are still the same that the ones that I encountered in primary are still the same I've encountered in secondary. So my fellow students, pull up your socks and maybe struggle, and God, do your best and leave the rest for God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
May I add on something, please?
Yes, go on.
Yes, so I just want to add something.
Okay.
Hii gava yenyewe inatumiza, lakini inabidi tumevumilia tu. Jutu ya hii election jo 2022 watatumiza, lakini tunavumilia tu. Bali inafaa pia wafanye bidii. Unaona kuna dola litumiwa hii 255 billion na IMF. Lakini wakapea pia
unachoma bro.
Okay.
May I add on something, please?
Yes, go on. Add. Yes. Okay, you are using two gadgets. You need to mute one because we are getting a lot of feedback. We can't hear you. So you'll have to mute one gadget for us to be able to hear you. So I want us to do a very interesting activity, and we have two gentlemen in studio, and I'm going to ask them to hear. So we are going to pretend we are speaking to the President of Kenya or the Minister of Education, and we are going to 1 minute, not more than 1 minute. And those ones who are online, please start lifting up your hand because you're going to give 5 people an opportunity to do this. So you need to, for 1 minute, say, hello, Mr. President. You're an honorable President Uhuru Kenyatta. My name is this particular sub-county, and this is my ask for you to be able to improve education in my sub-county. Okay? And I'm going to start with Madam here, so she can speak to the president. So just 1 minute, actually 30 seconds. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Mavis.
Move this side.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Mavis Masita from Nairobi County, and I'd like to tell you that to ensure that all teachers in government schools are trained and they have a TSC number so that they give quality education to students, to avoid teachers not qualified teaching students because they may not give them quality education. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody clap for Mavis. Next. And I want to see hands coming up, and we are going even to allow you to watch your video.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Omar Hamed, coming from a school in Starehe Sub-County. And what I would love to urge you to do is, this is a new generation of technology. So in schools, right now we need a lot of computers. We also, if it's possible, we need phones which we can access to get information and to do research on. And we also need the necessary equipments like books. We need the apparatus in the labs. We need teachers who are very well qualified. So, Mr. President, please do on with the technology. We need computers in schools. Thank you. And also, thank you so much.
Next, we have two young people in the studio, so they are going to join us.
Okay, thank you. My name is Brian Omondi. They call me Arocho. Okay, I would like to say.
So you are addressing the president?
Okay, hello, Mr. President. I'd like to tell you that in this present life of now, not every person is good in education. So I'd like you to introduce a new form of education which is relevant. Instead of doing the books, others can do the other parts of education. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another person. I want to see those ones who are ready.
Hi, my name is Hezron Peter from Nairobi County, Kibra Sub-County. Hello, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the things that you have done for Nairobi in terms of free education. For me, I'm a beneficiary of free education. What I'd like to ask from you is to change the education system. The education system that is running now, it is mostly of helping the students to pass the exams than helping our students in achieving their goals in future. So we should look for an education system which is more of helping our students in achieving their goals as we did before.
Thank you, Aya. Who is next? Emmanuel, yes. You have to address Mr. President and you have to say, dear Mr. President. Emmanuel.
Hello, Bwana Rais.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Hello, Bwana Rais. Jina langu ni Emmanuel Ochieng. Nataka kuwauliza kama mnaweza tengeneza shule zingine na masomo zaidi za watu walemavu na watu ambao hawajiwezi. Serikali ikiweza fanya hivyo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. So who is the next person? I want to see Valencia. Valencia, yes.
Hello, Mr. President. I'm Valencia from Bakasi, Sub-County. I just want to ask you, can you build us for schools in Mukuru Pajenga, because they are low public classes, and some parents cannot afford the school fees that is paid in private schools.
Okay, thank you so much, Valencia. Please mute yourself. Who is this? I'm looking. Brian King, yes. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Brian. Sorry. So you need to fix your audio. I'm checking for someone else with. Edna, yes.
Hello, Mr. President. I'm Edna Wanjiku from Kamkunji. So what I would like to tell you is that you should consider even the urban areas, because like for our school, it's not well furnished. Our classes, we are so squeezed, no laboratory. So do something. Also do something in our slums, because many girls get lost because of drugs. People go on with drugs and everything. So just do something. Rehabilitation centers built for us. We need a place where we can express ourselves as children.
Thank you so much, Edna. Who is this? Madare. Yes, Madare. Madare team. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Let me unmute. Okay.
Yeah, go on. Hello, Mr.
Hey,
President.
Prezo.
Yes.
Yes, hello Mr. President. Mimi nasema hivi. Afadhali usaidiane na sisi mayouth, juu tuko wengi. Tukisaidiana ndio nchi itakuwa mzuri. Utapata uchumi na panda. Barabara ndio utajenga vizuri. Saidiana tu na sisi mayouth kutoka Kayole, Dandora, hizo mtaa Huruma, Madare. Hizo mtaa zote Kawangware nini. Sisi tunakusaidia, sina tutakusaidia, tutakulet down. Ni hivyo tu, tunakupenda na Mungu akubariki.
Okay, who else? Is anybody from Madare wants to speak when you still have the camera on?
You? What? No other person. We are okay.
Nobody else.
Yes.
Brian King, is your audio fixed?
Hello.
Yes, Michael, yes?
Yes, hello, Mr. President. I'm from Langata sub-county. I only have one request. Please increase the libraries in our slums. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian and Eric, yes? Brian and Eric? Okay, they are not speaking. Yes? Okay. Thank you so much. So, to my last...
Yeah.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
So, to Mr. President, thank you for all that you've done to us. Your work does not go unappreciated, but we think we could do better as a nation. Mr. President, we would like you to be remembered as the president who gave the young people, the youth, the chance to make the nation a better nation. Mr. President, it is our urge that you give the young people the attention they deserve, give them the opportunities, create jobs, and by that we think we will be a great nation in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Joseph. Brian, are you able to speak now?
Yes.
Okay, your sound is...
Hello?
We can't hear you, Brian.
Can you hear me now?
You can text your dear Mr. President. If you're unable to speak, you can text your dear Mr. President. Thank you so much for those ones who have see them. Let me read. Dear Mr. President, we would like technology in school, like internet, computers, and also highly trained teachers. Thank you so much for all those ones. So this is our last question before we finish up.
I'm sorry, Miss Jen. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead now. Go on, Brian.
Okay, sorry. So let me start. Dear Mr. President, I am Brian King, a former student in Jamhuri High School. So basically, up to now, we believe you have done a good job in completing your promises, except for one, delivering quality and best education to all children and students in Kenya. So basically, what I would like you to start with is to begin by offering free and fair education, because we have not yet achieved free education, considering there are students in slums who still have to pay some money. Yes, there are students in areas, in urban areas, who still have to pay some money, even after joining for some vacancies for their children. Yes, when you're talking about free education, You mean, this is what I interpreted. We are going to go to school, we're going to learn without having to pay anything at all. So we should not be chased away from school for any purpose. When you say learning, you include materials of learning. This includes textbooks, stationery, and other things. Now then again, to quality education, are the teachers trained? I believe we have a lot of teachers trained. You should very much utilize our workforce. As I think Michael or Joseph said before, we have a lot of teachers who are looking for jobs, and we also have a lot of schools which are ironically looking for teachers. Why are you not utilizing these teachers? We have a lot of them, a lot of very qualified teachers looking for work. Why aren't they employed? You should look at this. Looking at quality education again, is the environment enabling? Infrastructure. You're building roads, very beautiful roads, when we're very thankful. But then again, what about the schools? You might build a highway, but then we have a school whereby a student is learning under a tree, like the case in Turkana and Baringo. Maybe you should organize for those students who are now affected by the floods and now have to study under trees, to maybe even study under a tent. Because let me tell you, the environment in which you learn very much affects what you're going to grasp, what the teacher is going to tell you and what you're going to grasp, because you cannot learn when you are seeing other distractions nearby. Is there a curriculum to be followed? Well, not so long ago, you changed the curriculum and switched to CBC. Now, what about us that we're back in this curriculum, the 844 system? You know, when you switch to CBC curriculum, even though it affects the juniors, it still affects us, because now most teachers are trying to transition. We like the CBC. Most of us, according to my friends and my peers, most of us enjoy the CBC because it very much promotes our talents and abilities and does not let us spend a lot of time in things we do not need. Maybe you could also try and emphasize on this 844 system, maybe just adjust it a bit, even if it's not so much. Maybe you could adjust it so much a bit that it suits us and the 844 system, so that we are not overtaken by the CBC children, because they are also upcoming. We do not want you to promote the CBC so much that you forget us that are still in the 844 system. So yeah, when we go to children with disabilities, a lot of children with disabilities living with disabilities, some I know of, are living with caregivers who are not actually qualified to be taking care of them. When you're living with a disability, care and love is one of the most important things, I believe so. So maybe you could use the CHVs, the community health volunteers, to go and educate people about more of these disabilities, because I'm sure there's still a lot of people who believe that having a disability is a curse or something like that. So maybe if you educate these people, maybe you're going to remove a lot of beggars on the street, because they are perceived in a very wrong way. They're usually taken advantage of. Some people are actually turning these kids into a business opportunity, which is very wrong. You can walk in the streets in the early morning, 4 a.m. You think you're so early, and then you meet with kids at least to half your age begging on the streets, because someone out there is taking advantage of this. Maybe you should look at that. Infrastructure, again, I go back to this. Children with disabilities need a lot of infrastructure, which I believe Kenya is able to provide. Maybe instead of providing maybe big vehicles for our leaders, maybe you could look at these infrastructures. But then again, I also acknowledge the good work that you've done, and I believe this is all.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Brian King. I think we are done. The rest of you have seen, you have written in the text. Believe me, we are going to package them in a way that dear Mr. President is going to be seen. So my final questions, this one I'm going to ask my sidekick here, Brian, to answer. Brian, and also, sorry, Omar, sorry. So, but I'm also going to ask Mavis. So from the conversation that you've just had with all these guys, what are some of the areas do you think the government should focus on in giving more money?
Giving more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think what the government can do in the area of giving more money, I think it's the aspect of the education system itself being free. Because even if I say they give more money to the facilities that are in school, it's going to affect the children who are trying to get into school. So what they can do is just make the education system, even getting into school itself, to be free. They maybe, I know some schools, it can be hard for it can be hard for you to go to somewhere like Mbagathi High School and then tell the principal, from now on this school is free whatsoever. It's going to be hard. But what the government can do, they can give the schools the money, because children need to eat in school. If it's a boarding school, they need sanitary requirements, like for the girls, the sanitary pads. We also need water. We also need food. So when we say that maybe they should put the facilities and give more money for the facilities, what they can do is that they can give money to the schools, so that the schools can also say, yes, we can make this school now free, because now we have the money to accommodate for water, we have the money to accommodate for food, we have the money to accommodate for even the facilities themselves. So I think the basic thing here is just making the education system free.
Okay, thank you so much, Omar. So, and finally, as we finish, so apart from the president, who else do you think can help us as children get quality education?
Okay, I think our parents can also help us, because if they are understandable and they can at least train us from home. And also, I'm actually requesting the government to create awareness, like in slums, they should tell those guys at least to reduce the music, because at home children usually face a lot of challenges when they are reading, because actually you can't read in an environment where there's loud music, and like the youth like music, so they will just dance. And so the government should urge society in general to at least cooperate with the parents and also with students, so that students can at least acquire quality education. And also the government should ensure that it is building more schools, like the one issue raised in Baringo and Turkana. So the government should at least build more schools in those places and ensure that students are accessing school, so that they can get quality education. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you so much. Finally, I was looking for Lydia from World Vision. If you please lift up your hand so that we can upgrade you for the final thoughts. So I'm going to end with Eliza from I've forgotten, Elimu Yetu Coalition. From Elimu Yetu Coalition. So we've had this conversation. What is your thoughts on this conversation with children? You've heard what children are asking. They know what they want. They're not like, they know what they want. They know their rights. And they have very clear recommendation to government. As a coalition, what are you going to do with all these things these children have told you? Because they ask us. So we came for a meeting. What did you do? So what are you going to do with all these things? They have said a lot of things to Mr. President. They've given very solid recommendations. What are you going to do with this?
Thank you very much. I think I'm very excited to be here. It's my first time to have a conversation like this with children, and it's been exciting, very informative. Getting children to articulate clearly the issues that they have and the recommendations that they have put forward. As a Elimu Yetu Coalition, what we do is that when we get this information, we use it for policy engagement. So when we are having a conversation with Professor Magoha, we are telling him that this is what the children have said. This is what, actually we package it so that we have the stakeholders, but inside the stakeholders, these are children, and this is what they are calling you to do. But at the same time, we also have meetings with the members of parliament. In the parliament, we have the education committee and also in the Senate. So when we meet with these people, they are the legislators. They are the ones who call the ministry to account. So when we meet with them, then we tell them, when it comes to education financing issues, these are the issues that have come up. And these are the recommendations, so that if it requires policies to change, if it requires policies to be reviewed or to be implemented, then the government now has the information to be able to implement those particular policies. I wanted also to say something before we close, that what has come out clearly for me is the issues of the gaps that are there. And if we can link that to the Global Action Week for Education theme, which is basically talking about more and better financing for education, then what we are looking at is that currently the government is spending over 80%, close to 90% of the budget on recurrent expenditures. These are things like salaries, administrative, and all that. and only a smaller percentage. If you listen to what the children have proposed here, all those things require development. There are things that fall under the expenditure on development. So we are also asking the government to consider reviewing the expenditure so that a lot more goes to development. Because with the implementation of 100% policy and also with COVID, we know that we have a lot of gaps that have been exposed. They were there, but they have been exposed. Now we are calling upon the government to give more to education, but also what has been given, let it be utilized well. So we are also talking about accountability issues that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Kids, I don't know, you're saying there's this one I wanted to be said, but watu wajasema. Wakasema tu story ya education itakuwa tu poa kabisa. So there's a hand, I hear there's a hand up. Who is it? Ruth, you have one last point. And Michael. Ruth
Yes,
and Michael. Yes, go ahead, Ruth.
I think if it's very possible, and if it's not implemented right now, even in the future, I think it's going to go a long way with us, is actually developing libraries in areas near our homes. That is going to facilitate students to study while at home, and also maybe having safe spaces while at home, because you find sometimes while at home, you can't really depend on parents. They say they have money to make for the students or for the children, that makes them not have quality time with their students. But I've seen it maybe happening in Kamukunji, and that is having a space where people of the same age can come interact. They have mentors to guide them. They have a space where they can actually get things like sanitary towel. They can get mentorship. So I think if this is expanded to even other counties apart from Nairobi or other sub-counties apart from Kamukunji, that is the library and having safe spaces, then I think it's going to facilitate a student or children getting quality education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Michael, last person. Brian King.
Yeah, so can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I forgot something before. Basically, education matters mostly to the students, and the students mostly happen to be kids. So basically, why don't you involve these kids in the making of their timetables? By this, I mean, every time you make a decision concerning education, and this decision is going to affect either majorly or minorly, it's going to affect these kids, us in general. Why don't you involve at least 10 of us? Because you are making a decision for over 1 million kids. It will not be right. It will basically be gossiping about us if you are not involving us in decisions that are going to affect us. So yeah, I believe Miss Elizabeth, maybe you can look at this. Maybe every time you're making a decision about kids, not you alone, but the education in general, and not just education, issues pertaining kids everywhere, at home, at school, in the hospital, everywhere, involve kids. Because trust me, you're going to see a problem, but you have not involved us. You don't know if this is really a major problem according to us, because it might be a problem to you, but not to us. You see, and this might be good for you, but not good for us. Maybe you should involve us, yeah, even if it's just minorly, so that we can at least see that we're at least being represented. I believe we have raised this issue several times. Miss Jenny can confirm this. So basically, yeah, this is it. Again, our voices should be heard. Include us in the decisions that you are making about us. Yeah, thanks.
Had it, Elizabeth.
You want me to say something?
Yes, you had it.
I think, yeah, that is why we are here, actually. We are here to get the voices of children and incorporate them in what we are doing. So even as we interact with the government, we are going still to push for the same. Yeah, so as Elimu Yetu Coalition, we are doing that already. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hello, please, before you end.
There is a comment. Michael, yes,
Yeah,
go on, Michael.
I want to ask Madam Elimu Yetu to go and tell Mr. Mahoha when she meets him, When we reopen school on Monday, it is a reality that in our schools we are so congested, and when he travels around the country, I always see him going to schools that are well established, but not visiting the schools that are not well established. Please ask him to visit even the schools which are not well established. We are so congested, and we are reopening schools on Monday. Thank you.
Okay, there is okay, anybody else for message that should be taken to the CS through Elimiyetu coalitions? I can see Omar banning comment.
Yes. This is something that is affecting us right now in school, and I think if you go and for the next meeting of sitting with the cabinet secretary, George Magoy should at least say this. It's affecting us in school. Right now we came back from COVID-19, and I understand that after coming back now things are being pushed, they're being stretched and they're being squeezed. But they're really pushing us too much. Because right now we are going back to school. We are opening, as you have heard, probably next week or next week but one. After opening, we will go back to school for another 5 months. And we are only closing for 3 days and 1 week, which means we'll be pushed for that small time to read and to understand, and also mostly people who are in Form 2 right now. The people who are in Form 2 right now, they're finishing Form 4 next year on December or November there. You see they're in Form 2 and they have 2 years. They need to cover up Form 2 syllabus, they need to cover up Form 3 syllabus, and they need to cover up Form 4 syllabus. So this is something that's affecting us actually. It's even psychologically. Because now someone in has 2 years to do Form 2 work, Form 3 work, and Form 4 work. And you still need your time to read, you still need your time to think, you still need your time to also think about other things and other things. So I think this should actually be said, because it's really affecting us during this time of COVID now. Because right now we'll go for 4 months or 5, and then we will be pushed and read and read and read and read and read and read and read. And as children, we also need time to sit down, we also need time to breathe, we also need time to play, we also need time with even now technology. And parents also. We also, most of us are day scholars. We need to go home, and then we also need to go and help our parents, because for the whole day we've been maybe doing other things. So we need to help them also. So when you tell me to read, just read. I'm only 16 years old, and I'm only in Form 3 or Form 2, Form 1. I don't think I can handle it. So this goes to you, Mr. President, the Cabinet Secretary, the education system itself for Kenya. You guys are pushing us too much. We cannot handle it. Please. And I know it's affecting all the high schoolers, all the primary school students out there. So please, if you can find a way to at least open up the gap, because you guys are the ones who plan the education system. It's not a must you go with the education system. You can expand it. Make us have enough time. There's no need for us to have a small time preparing ourselves, and then in future we become nothing. What is the future then? We are the future. So if you guys can provide more time for us to understand what we are doing, so that in future we can incorporate it more, it's going to be better. So please, Mr. George Magoha, please. Professor Magoha and the President, please take this into consideration. Thank you so much.
Wow. I can see hands coming up. I don't think we have time. I think we have like 5 minutes to the top of the hour. I was looking for Lydia. I can't see her. Is she in? I was looking for Lydia. She's not in yet. To finish up, do we have time to take up those 3 hands that are? Okay, we will give you guys, please, 1 minute maximum to speak. 1 minute maximum for you to speak as we okay, I'm using the microphone. Sorry. So we are going to give you 30 seconds each for you to speak, so that you don't feel as if you have closed you. And I'm going to start with. I am going to start with Valerie. Is it Valencia or Valerie? Valerandia. Okay, yes. And then Collins Mwangi. Collins Mwangi, kindly speak. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Valerie.
Yes. Okay, Valerie, you need to mute one of your gadgets. So you're using two gadgets. We are hearing a lot of feedback, so you can't hear you. So you need to mute one so that you can be able to hear you properly. So I'm going to go to the next one, Valencia.
Yes.
Go ahead, Valencia.
I'm going to tell Margoa to add more public school in Mukuru.
To add more public schools in Mukuru, yes. And then I'm going to go to Michael.
Yes. I want to ask Madam Elimu yetu to go and tell Mr. Mahua to tell the teachers to slow down. They are taking us faster. Thank you.
She's writing notes. Brian and Eric. Brian and Eric. Okay, you don't have something to say. And then I'm going to go to Philip Kiyoko. Philip?
I'm going to ask Mr. Magoa to add more teachers in institutions like the rehabilitation schools. Most of the rehabilitation schools don't have enough teachers.
Rehabilitation schools don't have enough teachers. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go to Madare.
Yes, hello.
And Eleni.
Yes, so in Madare, privatization iko juu. Privatization. There are many private schools than government schools in Madare. Mostly secondary schools. We only have one secondary school in Madare. And that's in the room. And most of the pupils in Madare are day scholars. So most of them come from a certain school in Ruaraka constituency, inaitwa Ruaraka High School. And the other one in Madare, Nduruno. Yeah, so I would like to urge the government to add more secondary schools in Madare. Yes, so to avoid congestion in schools.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go finally to Aziza Ongati. Aziza? Okay, Aziza is not speaking. Benedetta? Benedetta? Go on, Benedetta. Valencia?
I'm going to ask Mr. Maga to add more classes because there are some schools you find that the classes has 90 teachers per class.
Okay.
Because of the congestion.
Or because of the congestion. Thank you so much. I think we are done. Everybody has spoken. If you've not spoken, Emmanuel, I've been told you've not spoken. Emmanuel. Emmanuel? Emmanuel, we can't hear you. I think he's not speaking. Okay.
My name is Emmanuel. I want to tell Professor Magoa to add more classes and desks in Kwanjenga, Mukuru, sub-county, and textbooks, pencils for children to learn well. And that will give more knowledge for children to pass in our exams.
So much, Emmanuel and the Mukuru team. Thank you. I was worried you guys did not manage to join in. Collins? Okay, Brian King, you don't have time, so I'm going to give you like a maximum of 20 seconds. Brian.
Yeah, okay, so maybe that how safe is it for us to go back to school with this corona time? Because as we are seeing, the third or I think fourth wave is here and the numbers are just increasing. How safe is it for us to go back to school?
Yeah. Okay. So we are going to, this is the final. Elizabeth has so many messages to take home. So she's going to respond and also give us our closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jen. I think I've received all the messages, ranging from the infrastructure, desks, schools, technology, the people who talked about the laptops and the technology, basically connections and all. So when we are going to package our messages for policy engagement, some of the things that we are going to capture coming from the children, and we hope we only influence as CSOs, but still upon the government to take action. But also we have different avenues. Elimieto is just one of them. So we are also going to share this information with others to be able to influence from where they're coming from. Basically, from me, I think this conversation has been very interesting and very informative, and the children have confirmed. When I hear that you are talking about too much being done within a short time, then I hear you, because we had this conversation even before schools were fully opened. And it is the same information that was coming from stakeholders across the country. And the government has this information, because at some point we were telling them that these children are coming back after staying outside for a very long time. So first of all, they are not ready. So when they come back and it is curriculum, exams, everything else, it is too much for the child. So how do we get them ready to learn before even we start learning? Yeah, so those were some of the discussions that we were having with the ministry at the beginning, and we presented the views that had come from the stakeholders. But we saw schools opened, and the government went ahead to push, and we've had cases where children are rebelling and they're saying no. So it is upon, learning actually brings on board. We are talking about the government, but the children also have a responsibility. And we also have parents who have, parents also have responsibility. So as the non-state actors, we are doing our bit, and we are calling upon the government to do their bit. But from here, I think since I'm talking to children, it is also important to encourage children to do their part. You cannot get much from school when you're not disciplined. So it is also a call on children to be disciplined, to be responsible children, so that even as we push with the other sectors, the other stakeholders, then the children are doing their bit. And at the end of the day, I am sure they're going to do the best. So we will push the best we can, and we hope the government will take action from the children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you want to say bye-bye to everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. And God bless you. See you next